Hey guys, Q again, back for some more Penny Arcade pin display action. I actually finally got all my stuff back from the airline. Again, big thank you to Merch Mistress. She was the one that actually found my bag in SeaTac and tracked it down and got it sent back to me. So huge thanks. So I've got my camera back. I hope some of you guys were able to check out the PAX Prime 15 Penny Arcade panel. I'll put a link up there to that so you guys can check it out. I actually also got a microphone that I purchased, so I'm gonna try and see if I can kind of upgrade technology, make these videos a little bit higher quality, and see if that makes any difference to you guys. If not, that's cool too. I just like to kind of try new things and put myself out there a little bit. So stand by for the magic of technology. Okay, so we're back on high def film with high def audio and a puppy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here and kind of show you guys what I'm looking at. First thing, we'll just kind of go through all the pins and see what we got this year, and then I'll show you kind of my idea for my display layout. So I'll just start from where I've got them laid out to the corner. I'll start with the Behemoth. First thing we've got from the Behemoth is the unicorn, kind of fondly referred to as Derpicorn because the face is pretty derpy on there, but cool pin. Next to it, probably one of my favorites, especially from Behemoth, but one of my favorites from the show overall. We've got Jerkomedes. It's awesome. It's a guy with a giant chameleon that also has a pretty derpy face. The other Behemoth pins, I believe we got this one. I don't remember her name. I'll have to double check and throw that into a comment. And then, again, don't remember his name either. Another fail on my part. I'm normally pretty good about remembering the names, but and then we have the Vampiress here, last of our Behemoth pins. Not super remarkable, but still a pretty well a staple of PAX Prime and PAX East. The way we got them was the same way we always get the Behemoth pins. You go to their Chonka machines, you drop down some cash, they give you a little token, you put it in the machine, random chance, click, you get the little Chonka ball right here, just like these, that has a pin in it, and then you randomly get one of those pins based on the set that's marked on the machine. It seemed like the Behemoth says that they were distributed evenly and equally throughout all the machines, but it seemed like kind of the chase pin of the 5 was the unicorn, the rainbow unicorn. Nearby to the Behemoth booth, we had the game Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. It's a fun little pin, just a couple of characters in a cool pose on a nice kind of heart-shaped background. Really fun pin. It was just purchased. You just walked up, slapped your money down on the table, got your cool pin, so it wasn't that hard to get. Next, I've got the ThinkGeek Diamond Block right here. Yet again, another purchased pin. Not a bad pin, but I definitely am glad that this one was purchased and not earned through a demo or something to that effect, because trying to demo Minecraft would have been a nightmare. Next down, we've got the Versus Evil pins. First one right here. Pretty cool looking guy. For these, you actually had the option on one of them, I believe it was this fella, you had the option to demo the game to get the pin or to just buy it. The wait, I was in the line for over 30 minutes and just kind of gave up, so I just said, time's money, friend, let me get those 2 pins, so I just bought those. Next up, we've got the Double Fine pins, which are also purchased pins. Here's the first one. It's the Double Fine logo there. Kind of a cool looking pin. Nice colors to it. Real fun. The second Double Fine pin was Raz from Psychonauts. Right there. Again, pretty cool looking pin. one of those games I never played, but those that played the game said it seemed appropriate for the series, so I'll go with that. I just think it looks cool. Further along, we've got we've got the two maker pins, which are now for sale online. If you weren't able to go to PAX Prime, or you don't have Pin Pals, or you haven't been to pennypals.com to set up an account to potentially trade, then you can go online to the website. I'll see if I can toss a link down in the description here for you guys to get a hold of these cool pins. Just pick them up for yourself, purchase them online. First is the co-optional podcast. It's kind of a neat looking little pin, really colorful, some simple characters but fun, really fun pin. And then is probably, I think I'm going to say it's my favorite pin from the entire show. I love this pin and the way it looks. It's the Polaris Grand Prix. It kind of brings back the memories of the 10th anniversary shields. It's got that crest kind of feel to it. Up at the top it says Polaris Grand Prix, and you can see across it says Seattle 2015. Up at the top it's got the cool kind of Seattle green, Mariners, Sounders, Seahawks, all their sports teams with a little silhouette of Mount Rainier, and then the prime polygon, the blue polygon colors down at the bottom, which I think just crams everything about PAX Prime into one pin and did a really, really good job of it, and very classy pin as well. So I'm going to vote that for my favorite pin of PAX Prime 2015. Moving on down the line, we've got the gigantic pin, Taito and his pet Fang. The character Taito is from the game Gigantic, done by Motiga. It seems like a really neat game. I've downloaded and set up the beta, and it's got a lot of really cool characters, a lot of really cool art. It's fun if that's your type of game, but I'm just not good at it. I'll come flat out and say it. I've tried and tried and tried. I'm just not very good. The character Taito is one of the coolest ones, Tyto. I'm pretty sure Taito is the genus of a species of barn owl, which is what, if you look super, super close here, that's kind of what Taito is. He's an anthropomorphic kind of barn owl type guy. So maybe a fun bit of trivia. I could be completely wrong. Challenge me, check it out, Google it, and then you can make a snide comment about how dumb I am. Or you can say, wow, that guy's really smart. He knows a bunch of random useless trivia. Either way, whichever you prefer. Next up, we have the couple of pins from our Bethesda booth. We've got the Doom pin right here, which looks pretty good. Nothing really to write home about, but good looking pin. And then what turned out to be one of the hardest pins to get from the show, which a lot of us were really surprised, because both of these pins were purchased at the booth. The Vault Boy pin from Fallout. Fallout is an immensely popular game series, so it's huge to begin with. The Vault Boy is super iconic within the game and kind of all throughout gamer culture. So you've got a big icon, you've got a hugely popular game, and you've got a limited quantity of these pins. They only had 1,000. So that is a recipe for super rare, hard to get pin. It was actually seemed to be harder than the Kappa, which Twitch was kind of our notoriously difficult pin. Something I forgot to mention about Taito here from Gigantic. It started out where you had to have gone through the booth 5 times. You had to demo the game 5 times and get the cool little badges from the Gigantic booth, which kind of look like this, that showcase different characters from the game. And you had to collect 5 of these, and then take them and get them checked off, and then you would receive your pin. Once they realized they only gave out about 10 pins the first day, they probably said, well, I guess we need to get more of those pins out there. So then they started doing things like Twitter. They would announce on Twitter the first 100 people to post a selfie with one of our booth staff onto Twitter get one of our pins. So that helped get the pins out to a lot of people that weren't willing to invest the grind trying to play the game 5 times, because it was a decently long line depending on where you went and when you went. I was kind of, I wouldn't call it shady, but I stood at the end of the line and just kind of checked with people. Said, "Hey, I'm trying to get the pin. I'm collecting the cards because I wanted to get them signed by the artist Lexi Douglas." So I asked people if they weren't collecting them or didn't want them after they had redeemed for their shirt or their poster or whatever, if they would be willing to give it to me. Several people did, so I didn't have to necessarily do it 5 times. I think I only did it 3, so I got off a little easy. Moving on, we've got the 4-pin set from Portal, which was purchased at the We Love Fine booth. We've got our Portal, I want to say it's called Companion Cube. Not 100% on that, never played Portal, but I've kind of heard little bits here and there. We got this other Portal guy right here. Again, not a Portal guy, sorry. I don't know what this is, but it's a potato, and that is amusing to me. So, potato pin from Portal. And then the final pin in that 4-pin set from Portal and We Love Fine, right there. We Love Fine also kind of dropped a little surprise on us. We had the day before PAX opened up, we got 2 online pin releases from Naughty Dog. We got Daxter right here, and we also had Chloe right there. Both of these were from Naughty Dog. These were actually for sale at the We Love Fine booth, so I jumped in and just picked those up there. So I'm going to go ahead and include those in this particular display, just because if I don't include them in this display, I probably won't end up displaying them anywhere else, and so this will give them a home. Since I did purchase them at PAX Prime and they were available at the show, I'm calling it good, and it's not a repeat of any other pin, so I'm putting those in there. We also have up next Riptor from Killer Instinct. To get the pin, there was some talk kind of back and forth. You had to you had to play one of the game developers or one of their appointed gamers in a game of Killer Instinct. I played one time. It was actually a fun game. The guy wasn't a professional Killer Instinct player, so we just kind of played back and forth. He had a lot of pins on, kind of in a sash, so if he's watching this, I didn't catch your name or if you were active on our forums, but you're obviously a pin collector, so just wanted to say thanks for playing a game with me, and thanks for hooking me up with our cool Riptor pin. Further down the line, my least favorite pin, and many people's least favorite pin from this show, the Twitch pin. It's a Kappa face, which most of you probably know at this point what this means. I'm not a huge Twitch guy, but it's, I guess, kind of a smarmy, smart aleck kind of smiley emoticon type thing. To get the pin, you had to be one of the first however many people at their booth. You had to go to their town hall or panel or some of these other things. They would randomly post on Twitter that they were going to be out and about. So you had to find someone who was hiding pins. They were just there wearing a Twitch hoodie, so weren't really, they really got a lot of enjoyment out of making it a hard to find, difficult to obtain pin. So again, not a big fan of the way this pin or any Twitch pin has been handled, but it's their pin. They'll do with it what they want. So, and I'll probably keep trying to get them. It's just the nature of the beast. Next up, we've got the Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering Gideon pin. Pretty cool. Yet another Magic Planeswalker being shown off here in the pin. Gideon is traditionally a white Planeswalker. He's going to be featured heavily in the upcoming Battle for Zendikar set. So if you're a Magic fan like I am, it's probably pretty interesting. If you're just a pin collector and you're not a Magic fan, still a pretty cool pin to pick up, and it was actually pretty easy. You could buy it from the prize wall for 10 tickets, and there were a bunch of different ways to get tickets. The easiest way to get the tickets, which I thought was great, you go, you sign up, You go to the Magic booth, you sign up, you get a little intro deck, and you go and play 5 random opponents, get them to sign off on your little card, you bring your card back, you get 10 prize tickets, and then I immediately redeemed it for the pin. If you wanted to redeem it for a pack or save them up and redeem it for something larger, you could do that as well. So overall, I thought it was really good execution by the convention staff there this year for Magic at Prime. So thumbs up. After some of the hassles we've been through in previous PAX, we went from having really easy, super, just demo a game, get a cool pin from Magic, to the kind of the nightmare we had at South with the badge snatching and the 1 per person for life pin type thing. So it made it difficult for those of us who have pin pals to get them for other people. So this time, very well done. Super happy with the way it worked out. The next Wizards of the Coast pin is the Rage of Demons. There were actually 2 ways to get this pin. It's really cool, super high gloss demon. This one was actually a double post, so it's the second double post pin. The first double post pin being the New Year's Eve 2015, or just New Year's 2015 pin. You could get this one by attending the Acquisitions Incorporated panel, which I did, because that's kind of my big, the only thing aside from pins that I absolutely positively have to do when I go to PAX is see the Acquisitions Incorporated panel. So I went to that, picked up this cool pin. But you could also demo the new game from Wizards of the Coast. I want to say it was Sword Coast Legends was the name of it. It's a really cool kind of Diablo 3/4 scroller, but instead of it just being all these preset maps, you have players and then you have a DM, someone who can manipulate the NPCs, then the terrain and traps and doors and things like that. I really recommend checking that out. I had a lot of fun as someone who DMs for a lot of D&D campaigns. That the idea of being able to play inside a game, the thought of being able to transition seamlessly from pen and paper to a video game and back is mind-blowing to me, because I've got a lot of friends that live all over the world and things like that. So it'd be great to kind of do like a voice over IP for all the role-playing, and then the combat all be digital through the game. I'm hoping to check that out soon. It's on my list of things to do. Up next, we've got Commander Bra. He from the Star Wars Uprising, which is out now for mobile platforms. I've played it a little bit. It gets kind of boring. Some people were touting it as Coder, Knights of the Old Republic for mobile. Well, I think you can pretty much buy Knights of the Old Republic on iPad or iPhone, so I'd probably rather play that. But it's a cool looking pin, very representative. You've got the Imperial symbol right here on his shoulder, kind of that trooper feel. I really like the pin. I like that they were cool about giving it out, despite the fact that I wasn't a huge fan of the game itself. You also got a Star Wars Uprising lanyard, and they were doing a thing where if their media team caught you wearing the lanyard with the pin on it, they would give you a thing to redeem for a free t-shirt. So that was kind of cool. Next up, World of Warships. Neat looking little pin. Nothing too impressive about it. It's nice to look at. The game was not all that impressive. Everything was just kind of meh. You showed up, you played the demo, you got a pin. That's cool, but I think they made something like 4,000, so there wasn't any huge. They were not a huge deal. They're not as ugly as Castle Guy, so they probably won't end up as that kind of fodder, but they were definitely great for new collectors to go pick up and go through multiple times to hit the staff trading event and maybe score some good upgrades for their pin collection. Next up, Rainbow Six. Super high gloss, super shiny pin. Just kind of a logo. Nothing too super remarkable to me. Not a big Rainbow Six or hyper realistic shoot 'em up fan, but you went through, you demoed the game, you posted your picture with all their props on social media, and then they gave you a pin. Nothing too bad. Had a big kind of delay because we were pretty early getting the pin, but just kind of a hold up. So took us a little while, but we got that pin. Moving on, we've got Rock Band, which was really fun. They had a lot of displays set up for people to play. You could play as a group, you could have your whole band, or you could play as solo. You could get up on this big stage that they had. I'll see if I can toss a couple of pictures in here of me and my friends getting up there and acting a fool, but having fun demoing the game. They actually ran out Rock Band pins on Sunday, right before noon. I was in the line to go through again with one of my friends to get a Rock Band pin, and the guy holds it up and says, "Sorry, this is our last one," and we're about 5 people back from the front of the line, so we missed out on a couple extra pins, but that's okay. Still a fun time. Still got my one for my collection. Let's see. Continuing on, we've got Katie Rice's Camp We Don't Want You skull pin right here. Really evocative of her Camp We Don't Want You. It's a great little series that she did when she won Strip Search. Still going on. It's really fun to watch. I definitely recommend checking it out. Next up, we've got Scott Kurtz's from Toonhound Studios. We've got his Bennett to Win It pin. He's up in his game, and it's not just him. It's not just Scott Kurtz. It's the brand Toonhound and a lot of his IP that he's created and stuff he's set up. So he's really just taking off, doing some great stuff, really capitalizing on one of his great characters, Ben Wynn here. So he is Bennett to Win It. As a huge Acquisitions Incorporated fan, I obviously love it. Next up, from Bandland, again, we've got Chris Stroud, his Star Slip Prime pin here. Super shiny, kind of got a Star Trek feel, which is the purpose of it. Really, really glossy. If you get one of these, be careful. It's really easy to the face because it's so glossy. It's got so much open metallic space there that it's really prone to scratches. So be careful kind of handling those pins if you get your hands on one. Then we've got the Loading Ready Run, one of my favorites, probably my second favorite out of all of them. The Muffins of Comedy and Tragedy. You've got the 2 muffins there, just like the classic masks, but in this case they're muffins. So just a fun little pin. They do a lot of funny, cool stuff. Then we've got the limited edition, the early morning merch booth pin. Limited edition, limited to 1,500, which limited edition, to be clear, is not indicative of the amount printed. Because, for example, the Vault Boy from Fallout only printed 1,000, whereas the limited edition printed 1,500. Limited editions is focused on the fact that it's never going to be reprinted. That's per Penny Arcade's kind of marketing, is that limited edition stamps mean that they're not going to reprint this pin. They may reprint that similar IP, like with Hannah or Carl. They're going to print similar pins, but that exact pin is not going to be reprinted. So the show limited edition pin, the Polygon, it's just Washington with the Polygon theme on it, just like the other 2 we've had so far this year. We've got one more coming up from Australia, and that'll complete the Polygon set for 2015. The show set consists, as always, of the logo. We've got 15 PAX right here, PAX Prime 2015. It consists of, well, I guess not always, because East 14 did not have a Gabe and Tycho in it, but the majority of the time we've got a Gabe and Tycho. So here's Gabe as the Sasquatch, which the theme of this year's PAX Prime set was the Pacific Northwest, so it's got that foresty, northwestern type feel to it. And then we've got Tycho here wearing a merch beanie and a merch track jacket. The assumption is that he's kind of a bicycler, so he's that stereotypical kind of stuck up Seattleite, Pacific Northwesterner which is not indicative of all Pacific Northwesterners or all Pacific or all Seattleites, but just he's kind of being that stereotypical character. Last but not least, the majority of people just absolutely love Kemper and all things cat. Me personally, I don't know if you can see her in the shot here, but Daxie, I'm a dog guy, but this is pretty adorable. It's Kemper kind of going after the fish there. Is it trout or salmon? I don't remember if it's trout or salmon. Either way, going after kind of the rivers and bodies of water of the Pacific Northwest, really embodying that this is a very active, aggressive Kemper as opposed to the normal, cute, playful Kemper that we've seen. So that's it as far as show pins go. I'm going to stop real quick here, and then I'm going to show you guys kind of my outline of what I've got, kind of how I've arranged the pins, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so now let's take a look here. These are kind of what I've got going on. I really wanted to include that playmat. So if you check it out, this was the playmat that was sold. These playmats are generally used for like collectible card games and other tabletop games and things like that. They're just, I'll show you one of my other ones here I was showing off earlier. If you look, it's just a kind of a thin rubber back to it with a cloth exterior, super smooth. I really like this one because it was show exclusive and it's just kind of obviously PAX Prime. So this is the way I've got the pins laid out right now. I really wanted to include my badges right there. I kind of keep the patch up here, Gabe and Tycho, the limited edition pin. Draw some attention to the Polaris Grand Prix because I think thematically that just fits so well on here. The logo, Kemper, kind of the Bandland and Friends of PA section down here. Down here I got it signed by Gabe and Tycho. Over here you've got the little logo and the polygon theme to it. We'll just start up here. Got kind of the Behemoth up there. Got the Fallout, Bethesda, Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, Gigantic, Think Geek, the co-optional podcast, the 2 versus Evil pins, the 2 Double Fine pins. Moving over, we've got the Companion Cube, the other 3 Portal pins, the Riptor pin. I put Kappa next to a potato because, yeah. I kept the 2 Wizards of the Coast pins next to each other, and then the Commander Bra, the 3 like with the World of Warships, Rock Band, and then the Rainbow Six. The Rainbow Six I may kind of shift down. That really will throw the balance off overall, I think, because it leaves this weird space over here. So I may just shift those over, leave a blank right there. Or I may end up having to do something like this and just leave an opening right there. Those are just kind of some of the ideas I'm kicking around. I also really like the idea of just this Kemper over here kind of holding it down. Putting the logo there, putting the Polaris Grand Prix right there, kind of, well, it's in the center. Pin's not wanting to stay up, but that's the nature of the beast, I guess. There we go, so you can kind of see it. Doing something like that makes it feel a lot more even though it's 3 over here and goes down to 2 and then stays 3 over there. Having these lines really kind of brings it up so it doesn't focus so much on the odd number of pins. There really are a lot of pins in this set to try and put onto a display, so I'm not married to the arrangement. So if you see something that you're like, hey, you should move this pin here and this pin there, feel free to toss a comment in my in the video here, and I will definitely take a look at it and see how it works. It's going to be a little bit before I take them to get them actually mounted and framed. So each of these pins is going to be poked through the mat, but I'm going to have to wait I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to wait until I get there and get out a ruler and a line to make sure that everything is even and that everything's lined up appropriately so it's nothing is loose. This just kind of gives you a rough idea of kind of the stuff I do before I get to the craft store where I'm going to get it all mounted. And that's kind of my objective with these videos, to help you guys out if you want to delve into the realm of custom framing. So again, this is really rough. This is not permanent. This is not 100% how it's going to work, but I may have to kind of shift these up as far as for alignment purposes. Shift that up here. Shift this bad boy right here so that all of these line up on the bottom, and then these line up evenly here, and then I'll have to find something to do with this bad boy. I may try something like that, just putting that in between those badges. If that doesn't work, I may have to push down the patch, the logo, and this, and put that right there, but I don't really like that because I'm going to have a mat around the mat, matting around the mat. When I'm talking about matting, I'll show you right here. You see this picture, here's the actual art, and then these mats are under the glass between the frame. They kind of crop some of the edge of the art, but frame it a lot better. And so something similar is going to happen here. Maybe a quarter to a half an inch of this mat will be covered by a framing mat. So that will I'll be missing some of my border, so I won't have a lot of room to work with to put this bad boy up there. If I can, I'll use that pin as kind of a retention for those. Since it's so small and narrow, I may try and work that in right there. I'm going to play around with it a little bit, and if I come up with any more fun arrangements between now and the time I get this all edited together, I'm going to toss them up as some pictures at the end. But as of right now, this is really kind of what I'm looking at. It's really busy, but that's because there's so many pins, and this is probably going to be my last big display I do for custom displays. I'm going to keep doing custom displays, but they're going to be much smaller, kind of like my East 15 and PAX South 15 displays I showed in earlier videos. So that's where that's at right now. Again, if you have any ideas or any suggestions, things you would like to see, things you think may make it look better than the way I've got it set up right here, feel free to toss me a message or some comments in there and let me know, and just say, hey, I think that this pin would go better here. You could switch this pin and this pin and it would look better, or things like that. So I'm just going to cover some last little tidbits of information that I've shared on a lot of my other videos, just kind of a refresher if this is the first one of my videos you've seen. I'll go over some of the basics with you guys, and then we'll call it a day. So I'm back here to wrap it up with you guys. Something I talked about in some of my other videos, polishing cloths, cleaning cloths. With all these pins being brand new, there shouldn't be any tarnish on them, mostly just maybe some few smudges and fingerprints. Especially if you traded for them. If you traded for them, you know, they change hands a couple of times, you grab it, you put it on your lanyard, or they take it off their lanyard. You're going to see a lot of fingerprints and smudges, especially on, like, let's say Rainbow 6 here. Let me see if I can just get ridiculously up close and detailed. We'll see how that looks to you guys. And then I'm going to bring it back, give it a little wipe down, and should be good as new here. So a lot more shiny, no smudges, no fingerprints. So that should be all you need to do for pins that are new or anything like that. Now, when you're talking about older pins, pins that you may have traded for from older shows that you didn't go to, or pins that you may have traded off and then got back again from someone else, that's when you start talking about these cool little jewelry cloths. And I kind of detail this in another episode of one of my videos here. So definitely check that out. Get some cool, helpful tips on that for when you set up your display. One thing that was super cool, just for some of you out there that weren't able to go to PAX or weren't able to check it out, this year at PAX Prime, if you kickstarted Katie Rice's Camp We Don't Want You, there was a pin level, and at the pin level was what they're calling a Dark Place Brian, was a pin that you could kickstart for. And those of us who went to PAX Prime, she actually had these pins there. If you had kickstarted at that level, and they had a spreadsheet and everything that they were great with, you just walked up, hey, here's my email, or showed them your Kickstarter account and all that, and they could look you up and say, okay, cool, you got your pin. And then they just gave it to you right there, as opposed to trying to ship it out and all that. So if you weren't able to make it, or you didn't know that that was going down and you haven't gotten your pin yet, here's just a quick preview of how cool the Dark Place Brian. I see a lot of people calling it Dark Side Brian, and people use the acronym DSB. Well, people also use the acronym DSB for the Double Secret Box merch, so it's kind of confusing, so I'm calling this guy Dark Place Brian. So if you check it out, boom, that was another pin we were able to score while we were at PAX Prime, just to kind of round out that set for that. So I hope you guys enjoy, and again, if you have any kind of suggestions or anything you want to see, any other videos or any other pin related fun stuff you'd like to see me demo or display or review, just let me know. Check me out. You can go ahead and subscribe if you like, and you'll have any requests, you can just toss them in the comments here or send them to me, and I'll do what I can to bring you guys some more great quality videos and some more cool displays. Again, thanks for watching.